Welcome to a brand new episode of the Post Game. I am your host Davion, and I'm joined by my boy Emmett
What's up, y'all?
and my girl Lillian.
Yo, yo.
How we doing today?
Good, man. Ready to talk some hoops.
Oh yeah,
Can't complain.
yeah. It's just funny as like in our other podcast, we have this dude, Arande. He's always tired. That's his answer. He's always tired. But yeah, man. Today we are talking about some basketball, some NBA offseason stuff. It's been a very fun offseason so far. And I love like this time of year for all sports, especially like the three that I follow, which is soccer, football, and basketball, because it's like free agency for all three of them, and so it's just always a fun time. But we're gonna start off with James Harden. He signed a 2-year, $68 million contract. I think it was 2 days ago, yesterday. Um, like team friendly deal for James Harden. Why do we think it's team friendly? Like, why do we think he chose this route?
I think from James Harden's perspective, he's been to the finals once, and that was with the Thunder. He wasn't doing much. He wasn't at his prime yet. And I think he's realizing that now as he's leaving his prime, he needs to have a team around him and not just be solo like he was in Houston. And I think building a team of role players and a couple superstars instead of a lot of superstars and a couple role players, I think he realizes that that's going to work better.
Yeah.
And wants to get it done before it's too late.
I completely agree.
Yeah. I remember when there was some report that came out where Daryl Morey said that James Harden would be willing to like take a $20 million pay cut to re-sign. And I mean, hey, that could be true. Like people are getting paid money nowadays. But what is it, like 36 mil or something like that?
Yeah, about 34.
Yeah. Still a lot. But I think Philly's definitely, this is his best chance he's ever had in his career to win a title.
Yeah.
I think a healthy Sixers team could definitely do well in the playoffs.
I agree. I think just right what Lillian says, like he understands at this point in his career is like I'm not gonna play to the MVP level that I used to play at. And so like now it's like I can't do this by myself. And if I have to take less money, I mean, because let's be real, $34 million a year still is a large sum of money. Like no one would be upset with that. And so like at this point, he's like, all right, let me just take less money. And if I can play my role well and we can build around me playing my role and taking this pay cut, why not? Like, and I think that's like shows maturity from James Harden, because I think years ago he would have been like, nah, I want the max. Or I want all the money, and I don't care about what any other of the roster looks like. But now I think because he's getting up in age, he realizes what he's doing. But yeah, so Suns re-signed DeAndre Ayton, 4 years, $133 million after the Pacers offered him a deal. Do we think he'll stay in Phoenix, or will they trade him?
Well, the thing is, I don't think they can move him until like January now. I think there's some rule with that.
Yeah.
But I look at that and I feel like that they kind of screwed themselves, in my opinion. Like I think you look back and like 3 years ago they were like the worst team in the league, and they made that bubble run, and then Chris Paul wanted to play for them, and like it's very rarely where a guy like Chris Paul joins a low end mediocre team.
Yeah.
So like it's like how lucky can you get for that? And like this offseason, there's like KD wants to go to the Suns, and it's like, dang, like you can't get any luckier than that. Like I think this is their best chance to succeed. I think they should have swung on KD, even if they had to give up a lot of stuff. Like doesn't matter if you win the championship, but I think but I think, Ayton could come into his role and develop better relationships with the front office and the coaching staff. And so it could work out for him, but they're just kind of tied down between him, Booker, and Paul for the next 2 seasons right now, at least.
And I think the big problem with that is like, I think they realize that Aiden is not who they think he is. And I think they realize that like they want something different from him. And so like why like maybe a sign and trade, or like not even like a sign and trade. Like I think letting him walk and then you'll maybe go get Miles Turner. Like that's not bad. I mean, but I don't like the re-signing of Aiden. How do you feel about it, Lillian?
I think the Suns have put themselves in a situation where you were already theoretically the best team in the league. You have the best record by far. You don't build on that team at all. You made it clear you didn't like what Aiden was producing. And so you were starting to look around at other guys like Miles Turner. And then all you end up doing is re-signing him. Well, now you can't trade him until like halfway through the season at least. Now you're stuck in this same position. You can't get better. There's nothing the Suns can do to go and get better right now.
Mm-hmm.
They just put themselves in the same spot they were last season, except now you've got teams reloading like the Warriors, who just coming off a championship run, signing free agents like Mac McClung and Dante DiVincenzo.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm not even worried about the Jazz, but you've got the Mavericks, who lost Jalen Brunson but added Christian Wood, and I think we can all agree that the biggest need in Dallas was
and JaVale McGee.
And JaVale McGee, that's right.
And he's been playing really well, and he played great for Phoenix last season.
Yeah.
And so go ahead.
I mean, I look at the Suns, I think you didn't improve at all, and you weren't happy with where you are. So just going right back to that and locking yourself into that position may not have been the smartest move long term.
Especially losing those players that you just named. I mean, and it's funny to me that like the Suns front office is like I get you want to keep Aiden because there's so much potential and there's such a high ceiling, but at the same time, you saw what he did and like you benched him in the playoffs, but yet like now there's this this internal confliction of like, am I gonna is this the right decision or not? I mean, granted, they could wait until the deadline and trade him away on the deadline because we've seen that happen so many times, and that still could happen. Like there's still the possibility that he won't be there, but it's just a matter of like what do the Suns want to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think if you get to that trade deadline, they think of moving Ayton. It's really hard to get a good value for someone that's still has 5 years left on his deal.
Yeah.
Like he could just have peaked and like have an above average like fringe all-star year going to the trade deadline, but teams aren't going to give up a bunch of assets to get a guy that's producing like that on a max deal. It's kind of similar to like Ben Simmons. It was hard to move his contract. He had like 4 years left on his deal. And like the return for him wasn't great. So
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, especially when it comes to the trade deadline, we see so many like teams who are like trying to get rid of that player. They are such at a disadvantage because like teams know, okay, let's say like last season, like, you wanted to, let's just say, for example, you wanted to move James Harden and he didn't want to stay. So, I mean, teams like this is just example. So a team like Phoenix, they're like, we'll take him off your hand and we won't give you much. We won't give you anything that you want from him. And because they have leverage. But when it comes to this Aiden situation, if he doesn't perform, I mean, like, granted, if he performs in the first half of the season before the trade deadline, then maybe he'll stay. But if he doesn't perform and you need to move him and you need to move that 5-year contract, it's become a lot harder and you have to give up a lot more than you want to.
Yeah.
100%. I think the situation with DeAndre Ayton, when you look at it, is if you do end up moving him at the deadline, I mean, maybe you get away with fleecing the Nets. You manage to get Kevin Durant. Yeah. You're extremely lucky if you do that, and that's assuming he's even on the Nets by the trade deadline. If you do that, you're still not only losing Ayton. You're not getting better because you're probably losing Booker or CP3, and you're losing. So you're trading a superstar and maybe a star for a superstar. Really, you're downgrading because Kevin Durant's great. All love and respect to Kevin Durant,
But he's old.
but he's old, he's injury prone, and he's not the guy to lead a team to the playoffs to the finals right now.
And plus, like if the Suns let him walk to Indiana, they have to give it to Miles Turner. I mean, but the trade options become a lot cheaper now for them instead of wait now you don't have any leverage over the Pacers or any leverage about what you can do with Aiden until January. So it's like now we're in this rock and a hard place. And so I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. But Lillian, you just hit on Golden State re-signing Looney. They just picked up JaMychal Green and they signed DiVincenzo. And I mean, while also saving $61 million in luxury tax, like Golden State are doing it the right way right now. And so I mean, how do we feel about those signings for Golden State?
Well, as a Warriors fan, I'm always going to be a little biased, right? I mean, there's not very many signings that I'm not going to like, but looking at it from an outside perspective, I think Dante DiVincenzo is an amazing replacement for Gary Payton.
Completely agree.
You so much. He's an amazing replacement. You're probably going to get a little less defense, but you are going to get more offense.
Yeah.
I think JaMychal Green fits that Otto Porter Bielitsa role well, shooting big who can stretch the floor for you.
Yeah.
And then Mac McClung, that's a young guard that you could have off the bench if, Steph is out for a few games, Poole's out for a few games. So I think the Warriors, they got a veteran presence in JaMychal Green, and they also got some youth in DiVincenzo and McClung. And I think they are a team that knows better than most teams in the league how to rebuild.
Because I feel like they play to their strengths. Like they know like what works. I mean, they are a 3-time championship team. Like they obviously know what's going to get them to the pinnacle of winning a championship. And so I love DiVincenzo a lot. I think that's big for them to get Looney back for what they got for him. I think it was a hometown discount for Looney because I think he understood that like he knows his role and he's like, I mean, I'll be here for another 3 years. Like, I don't mind. Like, I mean, it's all. I think it was just a plus for everybody going around.
Yeah, I think Golden State, like them and like, well, just them. I think they're like of any team, they're in the best spot like you could ever think to be in. Like you're contending right now. You probably will contend for the next couple years.
Yeah,
and then like after that, when like most teams would start rebuilding, like they got young pieces, like they got guys that can contribute for multiple years after that. So like I would like being a Warriors fan right now, I'm sure it's a great feeling right now. I think like the Grizzlies are sort of like that too. Like they're the 2 seed and they're super young. Like you can really just only go up from there. But like the Warriors, like they're sitting so pretty right now. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I definitely do. Very jealous as a Heat fan. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what the vision is, and I know Pat Riley is such a very like him and Spoelstra are very like win down dudes, but like they understand the process. I mean, especially Pat Riley going from like his past with the Lakers and all the other teams that he's been with. But like I heard we were going to push for Kevin, but it's like, should we do that? Like, is that something that we should do? But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, with Kevin, it's he like I was talking about. It's hard to trade like a 4-year contract, dude.
Exactly.
Like he's saying like, oh, like it'd be nice. It would be nice. I would like to get traded to the Suns or the Heat, or I don't know who else is on his list. But
it's the Suns. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. I heard the Warriors. I don't think that's happening, but
I hope not.
But the Nets, like he doesn't have leverage in this situation. They're gonna take the best return they can get for him, and I don't think Phoenix or Miami has that kind of package that they're looking for right now. And so like, shoot, it could be I don't know, some like the like the Cavs could make a dumb decision and like throw their future in and send KD to a mediocre team or something, and then they'll take that deal. And maybe he's not happy, but it doesn't matter. Like they're gonna wait until they get a return that they want for him. So very good chance that he's still on the Nets when the season starts.
So as we move into, because that was a topic of conversation, as we move into talking about the Nets and talking about that whole Katie and Kyrie situation, and we'll talk about Russell Westbrook in a second. But talking about Katie, we'll start with him. Like, what are the actual odds he's gone before the start of the season?
Honestly, I think it's low. I think the Nets are in a difficult situation because Kevin Durant is a player that you get a lot in return for.
Yeah.
And there aren't really any contending teams that are just going to give you their pieces for Kevin Durant. And there aren't going to be those rebuilding teams that know they want youth and just hand all of that over for an aging superstar, where if he doesn't win, he might just want to leave anyways. And so I think the Nets, unless Kyrie leaves, I don't think Kevin Durant isn't starting game one for the Brooklyn Nets this season.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think there's a really good chance, like they just run it back. Like Ben Simmons is back. Like I think there's a very good chance that he is like I can come to terms with staying in Brooklyn another year and just really see how we can perform. And I mean, trade deadline, if it's going really bad, which it could, then re-explore stuff. But like, I mean, you saw the package. I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but you saw the package for Rudy Gobert. Like,
dumb.
Like that was the stage was set with that trade. Like, if that's what you can get for Rudy Gobert, like the Nets are going to want that and then some for KD. And there's just no teams, in my opinion, that really would give all that up for him right now.
And I think that's why this whole situation is stalling, because like the Nets, you as the Nets, like you said, Emmett, it's a 4-year deal. I have my superstar, my first ballot Hall of Famer sitting. He can sit, and if he doesn't want to play, he doesn't have to play. But we as a team, we're not going to trade him for something less than Rudy Gobert got. And also it's like, it's funny how Katie like I think Kyrie's the problem. I don't think KD wants to leave because he's over Brooklyn. I think he wants to leave because KD's always had hands on where he wants to go and play. Simple. He's always controlled where he wants to play. And so it's funny how KD, Kyrie opted back in for $37 million, but now KD's like, yeah, I don't want to play I don't want to play in Brooklyn. And it might be because of Kyrie, it might not be, but I personally think he'll probably still be in Brooklyn. I think they probably both will. I would like to see I would love to see him Kyrie go to the Lakers for Westbrook, but like Westbrook will get bought out, and then he won't play next season because he's that bad. Moving into that conversation, like, because we can make all three of these dudes together: Westbrook, Kyrie, KD. Westbrook he had such a bad season last season that if he wasn't up for $47 million this year, he would have been gone. Simple. He would not be on the Lakers right now. Let's say he was making $30 million this year. They would have cut him dry easily. But now you have to sit and deal with $47 million of a contract, and the Lakers have to deal with it. But I was reading something today, and it was like LeBron was like, he's seen enough of Westbrook. But then I heard last week that they had Westbrook, LeBron, and Anthony Davis had a conversation on the phone talking about how they're really committed to it. It's like you can't believe anything these days.
Yeah.
But I just want to hear y'all's opinion on Russell Westbrook, because Emmett, you were laughing as I was giving my my take about him.
I mean, I just think it's so funny about how, they were so pumped to play in LA together. Like, oh my gosh, this is gonna like 2020, we're gonna run it back. Injuries, screw all that. We're ready to go. And I mean, everybody flamed them for getting him. They're like, it's not gonna work. And LeBron's like, we're gonna make it work. So is the coach. And it didn't work. Like, you knew it wasn't gonna work. So the only thing I can I don't think there's many teams that if they trade for Westbrook, they'll play him. Because if they're trading for him, they're really going for like the Lakers 27/29 first round pick.
And that's why the Lakers have not traded him, because that's all they have. It's literally all they have.
So I think he gets bought out. The only realistic way he plays is if he goes to Brooklyn and KD's already gone. But then again, like Westbrook, I would love to see Russell Westbrook and Ben Simmons play on the same team.
Oh. Could you imagine that dumpster fire? Oh my goodness. Listen, I'm someone who's very fair. All right. I'm very fair when it comes to these NBA and NFL players. I understand their perspective. Like, I understand like everything, but like there's just nothing. It's funny, like usually like when it comes to NBA players and like finding a place like for them to go like on a team, because there's always at least one. Right now, Russell Westbrook has 0 options. There's none. Not a single place that he can go right now. And so like I just don't know what he's doing. And I don't think he will, and I don't think he wants to leave.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook is a really interesting situation to me because it's sort of crazy to me how, last year he's averaging a triple double, 22, 11, and 11. And then all of a sudden he gets to LA and is averaging 18, 7, and 7.
Bro, that's all he does. All he does is it's the stats.
It is a really weird thing because there's a huge drop off in his stats. Especially the 3-point shooting. The 3-point shooting managed to get way worse.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at that and I wonder, is it necessarily an issue with Westbrook, who averaged a triple-double, which I could be seen as stat padding, but also led the Wizards to the playoffs last year? Or is it an issue with trying to fit in a system with a ball-dominant player like LeBron James? Having 2 ball-dominant players on the court is a very difficult thing to effectively run.
Yeah.
And so I think, if I'm a team, I'm not paying him the $47 million or whatever it is, because he's not worth that right now.
No.
But if he gets traded to Brooklyn and he gets bought out, as long as he's willing to accept a smaller deal, like 1 year, $10 million, I'll pay him $10 million.
He won't get that.
I think he can. I think that there are teams that will say it's one bad season.
Give me one.
The Thunder.
There's no way in hell. There's no way. There's
Okay.
no way.
I think that he. Okay, here's my thing. I think he could get traded, and be like, for instance, like probably like that Kyrie trade. Like he could. It could be like I'd seen a lot of stuff about a 3-teamer with the Lakers, the Spurs, and the Nets, where Westbrook would end up on the Spurs, and he would just get bought out. But like, it would kind of surprise me if a team picked him up, to be honest, from waivers. The only starting role I think he could realistically get is maybe the Knicks next to Brunson, but any other team like
at the 3.
It's the only one. That's the only team. Saying that, it's the only team I can think about.
I mean, any other team he potentially signs with, he's gonna probably be forced to come off the bench and accept that. And someone that was in this position at their age, Allen Iverson,
Yeah.
He was 34 and Westbrook's 34. And Iverson said, I'd rather retire than come off the bench for a team. And so that's what he did. He retired. I'm not saying Westbrook will retire, but like,
He's
I don't
gonna
know.
have to. Listen, okay, so there's two outcomes that's gonna happen right now. He's either they're gonna run it back with the Lakers, and this is gonna be his prove it year for the rest of the NFL. I mean for the NBA. And if he's terrible again this season, then he's done. Simple. He's done. But he gets traded to the Knicks for Kyrie. That's probably the more feasible thing. Maybe Kyrie doesn't want to play in Brooklyn anymore. Maybe he just wants a new environment. Whatever the case may be. He either plays for the Nets, or he gets bought out, which is probably more likely, and then he plays for the Knicks. I don't know. I mean, and that's it. And so Westbrook is probably, I think he's more than likely to probably end up staying in Los Angeles. I think that'll be the more feasible thing. I think KD wants to leave, but I think he'll probably stay as well. Kyrie, he's the biggest question mark. Who knows what he wants to do?
Exactly.
Like, there's just no one knows what in his mind what he wants to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, last thing I'll say, it's like you said, Lillian, like it's hard to play in a system with two ball dominant players. Like I mean, I thought that Westbrook would be like a perfect person to come off the bench for the Lakers, if anything, last year, just to be like the primary ball handler for the second unit and kind of lead those guys while LeBron kind of takes the first unit. And like, yeah, if he's playing well, throw him in crunch time. But if he's not, like, I think he's got to come to terms with like the kind of player he is right now. And like, I guess we'll see if he can humble himself.
I mean, and I think that's been the problem all season long. Is like, he's not the problem in his mind. He's done nothing wrong. He has been a great NBA player in his mind. He's been perfect, and that's the problem. And so it's like, until he realizes and figures out that like, I'm the problem, I need to take a back seat, I need to get back on defense, I need to do this, that, and the third, they'll be right where they are from last year.
I'll be honest, I don't think there's almost any player in the NBA that has ever thought they did something wrong.
Well, you had a point, but listen,
you've got guys that are willing to take accountability, but there are plenty of guys that will try to shell it off on somebody else.
Listen, when you're making at least $15 million a year, who cares? Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. What are you talking about? That wasn't me. That was LaMarcus. That was LA. He didn't get back on defense. Come on, LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, it's like small things. Like no. Like, if I was making $15 million a year, I wouldn't care. Like, what? But I mean, like, he's making 47 to do nothing. He's realistically, he might sit on a bench or sit at home all season long, making $47 million.
The only thing he did better than anybody else on the Lakers last year was stay healthy.
That's true.
He's very ready. He's always ready to play. Terrible. But in the past couple of days, there's been more and more talk about Donovan Mitchell being the Jazz have started to look at potential trade spots around the NBA for that. Where do we think he'll go? I think there's two. One of them might be a little bit biased.
I've heard reports that a deal is almost done with the Knicks.
I heard that too.
So I don't think he's going to the Heat. I know you want him to go to the Heat. He's not going to end up in Miami.
Trade him for Victor Oladipo. Give them Duncan Robinson if they want, and whatever else.
Yeah, why would they take on Duncan Robinson's contract?
That's nuts. But
what's the most you would give up for Donovan Mitchell?
So don't touch Bam. Don't touch Hero.
All right, then you're not getting him. Like,
I know.
It's not happening.
I think I like Tyler. I really do. But like, yeah,
one of them got to go if you're getting.
Yeah, I know. But
Hero's one of those guys where the Heat, like, he'd be better as a starter, but the Heat don't use him like that. Hero.
Well, so he's at the end of the season, he was like, all right, I want to start next season. And so I think they're going to look to start him next season if he's still in Miami. Lord knows what's going to happen with between now and then. But I mean, if he's still in Miami, I think we're going to start him next year. But it's just a matter of him being able to be productive.
I think he would fit great on the Heat if he got traded there. He would fit great.
Yeah, they'd really be able to hide that defense.
Yeah.
That's a strong defensive team. You're not hiding that in New York.
Bro. He's gonna,
especially because he'll end up playing 40 minutes a game under Tibbs.
he's gonna be nuts. I mean, wherever he goes. I mean, it's funny. I just realized TJ Warren signed for the Nets too.
That's something I want to see. I mean, we haven't seen him since like the bubble.
Yeah.
And I do want to see. I'd be really interested. Kyrie, KD, TJ Warren, and Ben Simmons. I mean, that's
But how much is Kyrie gonna play? That's the problem.
like 10 games a month.
Like he just infuriates me. Anywho, yeah. So Donovan Mitchell, that like it's so early in the offseason and free agency that's like we can't really get frustrated because everything's taking too long. But like I just want these things to be done. Like I don't think KD will leave. Like they won't leave. But Donovan Mitchell, I think he has to be gone. And I think you can get a lot in return for Donovan Mitchell. I think. Like you can get sizable amount.
Like I think similar to the Magic, like a year ago, like when they traded Vucevic, they traded Fournier, and they traded Aaron Gordon, like all in the same season. Just get rid of all the guys and get young pieces, draft picks.
Now look at.
I mean, they're going to be bad, but like in a year or two, like
Ben Carroll looks amazing.
Come on, they've got a squad down there, and I think the Jazz should do that. I think they should just trade Donovan Mitchell, get some people, and get their new coach, just retool a new system over there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that might be the play these days. I mean, you trade away your three stars, you get a lot of capita and draft, and a lot of like young, talented players that like have potential. I mean, because look at they're next on the list, the Oklahoma City Thunder in bold. They are going to be one of my favorite teams to watch next season because of I watched a lot. So believe it or not, I watched a whole lot of summer league this year. Don't know why, but
I did too.
But I mean, the summer league, Oklahoma City were really good. Ben Carroll was really good for the 3 games he played, and they sat him because they saw enough. They saw enough. Jalen Smith played really well for the Thunder. I think I'm not Thunder, the Rockets. I think the Thunder are going to be better than the Rockets.
Jabari Smith?
I'm a Jabari, not Jalen Smith. Football. Yeah.
Davion, that's a real hot take. This really bad team is going to be better than this other really bad team.
Hey. Actually, hey, joke now, but I think the Thunder will be in the there will be 10 or 11 next year.
Look, I think that's perfect. I think that's so possible. Like, last year, like the top 3 teams in the West were like better than the top teams in the East.
Yeah.
But like the East was so much better. Like there was so much more chance in the West to sneak in the play-in spot.
Yeah.
And so like, teams like the Thunder could definitely squeak in.
I mean, play-in is 10, right? 34 games?
Yeah.
All the way up to 10, yeah.
Bro, they were 10 games behind.
It's not difficult to find 5 teams worse than them.
Yeah, like the Spurs were in the play-in.
The Spurs were in the play-in. They're going to be out. I mean, the Lakers, granted, will the Lakers squeak back up?
No.
I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, there's just so many. I think the Timberwolves are going to probably stay up there, I guess. With Rudy now.
Timberwolves will be in the playoffs.
Yeah. Utah might work their way down the list, though.
Yeah.
Utah's going to come down.
You got Sacramento, San Antonio, Utah, Houston. And
Clippers are going to go up. Clippers are going to go all the way up. Like top 4.
Easily 5 teams that could be worse than Oklahoma City.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, the West is going to – I mean, all of these – it's funny now. It's like a lot of these teams are going to be so competitive. I think Charlotte's going to come down. I think they're gonna come down.
No, I think you're right.
Miles Bridges.
He pleaded not guilty yesterday,
Yeah, that was an interesting.
so we shall see what happens. Let court handle it.
Look, man,
11 years.
I'm going off the assumption that he's not playing in the league for a while, and so
Yeah.
we just gotta
I'm going off the assumption that
Look-
man's never touching the NBA again.
Look for somebody else. Time to look for somebody else.
so
Forward wise, there's not a lot, but you could get like Boogie. I mean, we all know the Hornets need a center anyway.
Boogie.
I mean,
They should have went after JaVale.
solid minutes for Denver.
is Boogie like under contract or is he a free agent?
He's a free agent right now.
He's a free agent right now. Him, Melo's a free agent. Go get Melo, you know?
No, don't go get Melo. That man's just gonna chuck up 20 shots for you.
I mean, when you're the Hornets, somebody's gonna have to do it. That's what LaMelo's doing anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
LaMarcus Aldridge, you know, we'll get him too.
But yeah, definitely down in the West, we could see some teams jumping up to the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I definitely do think it was gonna be a lot like, and I think they were a lot closer last year, but things are gonna get real close, and tight-knit this season, and all.
well, I think as long as Cleveland can stay healthy, I think that they're a playoff team
Yeah,
definitely.
with or
Definitely,
without.
definitely. Brunson finally signed his contract today or yesterday.
Who?
Jalen
Brunson.
Brunson finally signed it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sexton's one of the like only big names that still haven't signed yet.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's because they realize that like Sexton's he's getting exposed.
I
Like
think they should let him go. Just
Yeah,
like they were doing fine without him.
he's not as good or needed as so let him walk. Who would he walk to though? Hornets maybe.
I mean, he could. Pairing him with LaMelo, well, I don't know how well that would work on court.
Well, Melo don't play defense, so
Well, neither does Sexton.
I wouldn't really want Sexton to be honest. I think he should go somewhere that like. I mean, he was injured, like TJ Warren type deal.
He can learn from Mike Conley.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Mike Conley. He's still in the Jazz.
He like just re-signed this offseason too. I think.
Conley, they got oh buddy too. What's his name? The really good Jordan Clarkson. He's really good.
Yeah, man, they should trade Conley to the Lakers. He would be good on the Lakers.
They just need they just need somebody consistent who's going to get them 16 points a night. That's about it.
Yeah.
I just remember Montrezl Harrell. Yeah, he's in jail too. Like, what the?
Bro, what Devontae Graham got like a DWI or something?
Yep. All the Charlotte boys getting in
Tell me
trouble.
about that Hornets
There's no
fan.
discipline, you know. There's no discipline. Where's the White signed somewhere, didn't he?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, he's still on the market.
I feel like I would have known if Dwight signed.
I feel like there was somewhere he was.
Nah, he didn't.
He didn't. It says he's still available here, but yeah, that's all I got. Do y'all have any more? Anything else?
I don't know. I want to watch a lot of Pistons games this year.
Yeah.
Are you more excited about the Pistons? What's your most excited team for this season? I didn't get an answer for that too. Let me see. I already said mine. The Thunder. The Thunder, believe it or not.
I think Detroit can figure things out. I think they can be a play-in team.
Yeah, they got a bunch of
I can see that.
young dogs there.
Mm-hmm. I think Houston is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah,
I like Jalen Green.
yeah. I mean, they have a like OKC and Houston. They both have, and I would say the Pistons and the Magic. They all have a bunch of young talent that like in 3 to 5 years are going to be scary.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Houston is they have one official center on their roster,
Oh,
and
man.
it's Boban.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I
All the
they've
other
got
ones are
Sengun,
stretch
but
forwards.
Boban's the. Yeah, I don't know what their game plan is. Running Boban 48 minutes. Other than like maybe run Boban 35 and then play 13 a small ball.
Mm.
Bro, looking at their depth chart right now, it's the funniest thing ever. They have so many people like who are rookies, second year, and like 1 year players. Like they're young and ready to hoop. Like
I'm probably most excited about the Pelicans, like a healthy Pelicans. Like I think
Mm.
they could make some noise in the West.
So
Hey, man.
this is on my list, but I want to talk about it. So now that Zion has signed a 5-year contract and now he's healthy, give me your opinions on him. What do we think? Like what's achievable for him? Like, can he stay healthy the entire season? Can he get the average? Oh, because he averaged 28 points last time he played, right?
Something close to it.
He averaged 27. Jesus.
Like, do we think he can do the same thing when he gets back?
I mean, I don't see any reason why he can't do the same.
I
thing.
think so. Yeah.
I think the numbers will go down a little bit because he's not going to be the guy when you've got Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum scoring with you. But yeah, I think he'll just as much of an athletic freak.
Yeah. Yeah, they construct that CJ McCollum move was great for them.
Oh, they struck gold.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw CJ like instantly like develop leadership. Like he literally took the Dame role that in Portland and like he turned into Dame for the Pelicans.
Yeah.
And what's so good about that is that like he can control that offense like a point guard that like not many people thought he could.
He could run the point guard.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, why not let him
He
do
probably
it?
will.
Yeah. And so like Brandon Ingram, he all they have to do, like, just think about it. They have Brandon Ingram, they have Zion, CJ. I mean, they have so many. That's just this their main 3 dudes, but they have a lot of depth. And their new head coach he's been balling too.
Yeah.
Valanciunas grabbing boards.
Valanciunas as well.
Yeah, Jose Alvarado just stealing ball.
Great point guard.
Herb Jones locking everybody down. That's a good team, man.
So they're my team that I'm most excited to watch.
They're gonna move. I mean, they're gonna just switch places with the Utah Jazz. Honestly, hopefully, like a team that I love because I love Nikola Jokic is the Nuggets. Like, I really hope they can really figure it out this off season. I know they'll be getting Jamal Murray back from that ACL injury, but like I really do hope they can really produce next year.
Michael Porter Jr. is going to be interesting because he's like just signed a max.
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. was interesting because he was coming off that really good year, signed the max, and then this past season got real cold, then got hurt.
He was bad to start off.
It was not a good showing. And I want to see how good Jamal Murray is coming off a torn ACL.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, it's been a season and a half.
Yeah, it's been a while. Klay Thompson lost a step. I would expect Jamal Murray probably would too.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. Klay lost his step. Yeah, because he tore it. Did he hurt his Achilles too?
Yeah. Achilles and an ACL.
Brutal. But yeah, I mean, that's all I got before the day. Any final things before we get out of here?
I think one last thing. Well, how does the DeJounte Murray trade? How much better are the Hawks, in y'all's opinion?
So I don't really like Trae Young. I'll be real with you. I don't really like him. I think he's good. I think he's really talented. I don't think he's like possesses that quality to be that guy. I think this adds this. This is like adding CJ McCollum to like Dame Lillard. That's what this is. Like you're giving him like a safety blanket. And so I mean they're both ball dominant though. And so if Murray can like work without the ball, he'll be fine.
Yeah, play some defense. Yeah. That was the main thing I think they needed is defense.
He'll play defense, but Trae Young still won't.
Yeah, Trey can't play defense.
And it's not necessarily that he doesn't have the skill or the IQ. He's just too small.
And he just doesn't want to, I guess.
Well,
Yeah, he's small.
oh, one more thing. What do we think about Minnesota? You've got two of the least post-skilled centers on one team.
Well, Cat's not going to be a center. I was talking to him about this. Cat will probably play a 3. Let's be like he will be shooting threes like there's no tomorrow. Let's be real. He's going to be working on his 3. Already. He's going to be working on his 3 in the gym all summer long. And so they're gonna change into a very. They're gonna change to a very. They still got D'Angelo Russell and. Oh, they got a squad. Starting wise, they got a squad.
Yeah, but they also lost like all their depth getting Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Man, I felt bad for Pat Bev after that.
I mean, he understands. It's always a business.
He understands. It's always a business. I still felt bad though. That man gave his heart.
Yeah, he did. He really cared, man. I mean, they picked up Austin Rivers. That's a little bit of depth. He knows what to do and when to do it.
I got Jalen McDaniels still. He's young and good.
He's really
Jaden, excuse me.
Yeah, that kid's really good actually.
I mean, I could see them being a really, really good regular season team and then fall apart in the playoffs.
Oh, didn't they do that already?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they can be 7, maybe 7 or 8.
I think they could be higher. Like I think they could
6, 7, or 8.
I think the West is going to be too difficult for them this year to be higher than 7 or 8.
We just have to see how they click. We have to see how how Rudy Gobert plays.
Yeah,
because he's literally not changed to a bit.
No, he changed his hair color.
Oh yeah, about the only thing.
Blonde.
That is about the only thing. What?
No, it'll be difficult for Minnesota though. With the Clippers, as long as they stay healthy, the Warriors, the Nuggets,
I like the Clippers a lot.
The Grizzlies, the Suns, and somebody else I'm missing.
I'd probably put New Orleans over them.
Yeah, New Orleans. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
With all of them, I don't think the Timberwolves can be better than any of them. Not without depth.
They're definitely gonna like it's funny is like every game is so important like in the NBA, and I think we're gonna really see that this upcoming season because of how hard it's gonna be and because of like how many competitive teams are now like in the East and the West. So that's just one thing to look at. I think we have like 2 years until we get like two new teams too.
Yeah,
expansion teams are coming.
It's not like officially confirmed yet, but it's going to be Vegas and Seattle, I think.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Oh,
if that Seattle team is not named the Supersonics, they messed up everything.
Then they're gonna flop. Yeah, they're definitely gonna flop.
it's just it's crazy nowadays. Like the league is just so good now. Like there used to be like a few years ago, like there were teams like that you knew were just bad. Like they were bad. Low, like hands down, and now like you could probably say like maybe 2 or 3 are really bad, but like you never know. Like you said with the Thunder, like some people would say they're bad, but they could make a push. Detroit could make a push. Like
I think a lot of that stems from the addition of the play-in, when instead of you got to be top 8, now you only got to be top 10, and maybe you get a shot at the playoffs now.
I mean, do we like the new play-in rule? Do we like the new play-in rule?
I don't.
No,
I see both sides of it.
I understand why you would add it, but at the same time, 20 out of 30 teams having a shot at the playoffs. Like at this point, the play-in is the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. I mean, I think it gives us some excitement to watch. You know,
if you're a 7 or 8 seed, I would be mad about the play-in tournament.
Yeah, because like let's say you're the 8 seed and you're like 3 games ahead of the 9 seed. Like we played 82 games for a reason.
Yeah. Granted, look at like if you look at like the East from last year, 7, 8, 9, and 10 were literally all separated by 1 game.
Bro, that was just the East last year.
Because like Brooklyn were 44 and 38, Atlanta at 8, were 43 and 39. Cleveland was 44 and 38. I mean, and then the Hornets were 43 and 39.
Yeah, the
So,
Hawks and Hornets, fun. If they were in the West, they would be, I think, a 7 or 8 seed in
Yeah,
the
the West is
West.
top heavy.
oh yeah, they are. Phoenix cleared it. Phoenix cleared them by like
So that's
almost
like
2 wins.
that's one part where it's like the plan is because like the Spurs were in the plan, like they were what, like 36 and 46 or something.
34 and
34 and 48. The Pelicans
Even
are
worse.
36.
Yeah. So you got that, and then you got the Hornets, like, and the Hawks, who are 43 and 39, 4 games over 500, and they're in the same seeding position.
Yeah, that's part of the like why I didn't like the play-in, especially last year, is because yeah, you had teams that definitely deserved a chance in the East, but then you look at the West and it's like you were giving teams that were way below 500 a shot at the playoffs when the top 8 were all above 500.
And Paul George got COVID before the game against the Pelicans, and that like
I'm not like upset that the Pelicans made it because they actually had a good series and it was exciting
they
watching.
did.
Yeah.
But they still shouldn't. I don't think they should have been given the opportunity.
Yeah, but listen, I like it. It's set in stone now. They just voted. I think they voted a couple weeks ago to like
Yeah,
make it
they
permanent.
did.
So
Mhm.
yeah, that goes. But yeah, I mean, if that's it, thank y'all for joining. Emmett and Lillian, I appreciate it. Always good getting on and talking about some NBA. Yeah, if you were listening and you made it this far, thanks for listening. It's been a good podcast. This will probably be out on. Well, I'm not going to tell the listeners, but at the time of listening, it's Thursday. This will probably come out on Monday. So anytime in that gap, if KD got traded, we don't know about it yet. But yeah, thanks for listening. If you made it this far, check out some other podcasts. NFL is always up, and some soccer's on there too. But yeah, I have been your host, Davion.
Oh,
That's Lillian. That's Emmett. And this has been the post game. Peace.